Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Celine, and over here at Blockmage we talk about ascension related topics, expansion of consciousness, and many more. In today's episode, these has been the phases that I had to go through in my awakening to become whole again. It is why I do what I do and the challenges that I had to endure and what has shaped me to become the woman that I have become now. I hope that you learned something from this. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. There are 3 classical phases of womanhood: the Maiden, Mother, and Crone. These archetypes represent the stages of a woman's life and the energy, the wisdom, and the power that she embodies in each phases. These are not necessarily tied to our biological milestones, but these are the shifts that we go through with our consciousness. This season of my life, it feels like I'm closing a book. My Chiron, my biggest wounding, is Leo in 2nd house, which represents wounds related to self-expression, recognition, and self-confidence, material security. Now, being a content creator, it's like the universe is putting me rightfully to share the transformation that I've gone through. Sometimes our biggest wounding is our gift to the world. I had always been deathly afraid of being perceived of what people might think of me, if I'm pretty enough or if I'm saying the right words. For a really long time, I was needing validation externally to feel worthy. When we are babies, we can't speak yet, and our first language is frequencies. We're constantly observing the strangeness of this world through our senses. The tone of our mother's voice, the heartbeats of our mom, our father's warmth. We heavily depend our survival from our parents. When are they going to feed us, to change our clothes, everything? From the start, we have been trained to get comfort and sense of belonging from outside of us. So we continue to be good girls and good boys, or else you're a bad girl or a bad boy. We are told what to do, and if you do something out of the norm, it's bad or that you shouldn't do it. We're always coloring behind the lines. We have boxed ourselves so that we can fit in society's expectations. We have been corralled our whole lives and we continue to perform for love. We get validations and awards and recognition. We climb the ladder because that's what our parents did. We do things that makes our parents, our family, friends, colleagues proud of us. However, this is in detriment to our well-being. My dad 2 months ago passed away unexpectedly. I wrote a piece on my Substack about how this Christmas just feels different. My parents, who is a big part of my evolution, gave me just the right amount of trauma, lessons, and abandonment wounds for me to grow and evolve. My dad was a physician, and he would come home every 2 weeks in a month and leave for another 2 weeks. I understood why he had to do it, but I was young, and that's how he loved, quietly from a distance in spaces he thought wouldn't hurt. Every time he came back, it carried the weight of all the moments we missed and the heavy unspoken words. At an early age, I learned to love in fragments, the warmth of his fleeting presence and the genuine joy in his voice when he actually called. But I also learned to love in quiet devastation of waiting, in the math of my worthlessness when he didn't show up. He taught me how to long for someone, how to fill the silence with hope. As I grew up, I didn't talk to him much. I was used to not having him around, and when it was time, I watched him die as his face grew cold and pale. I searched for pieces of him in other men who would also leave. Love became this thing I chased, something that slipped through my fingers as if I was never meant to hold it. It's in those fleeting moments of affection that reminds me of him, of how much I've learned to survive on crumbs. This Christmas feels final, the never again tolling like a bell through every tradition we've had and every empty space where the possibility of him once lived. He was supposed to be here this time after years of being apart. The lights don't shine the same. No more "I'll see you soon." No more waiting. no more chances to rewrite the story. It's actually the closure that I needed. I miss him. I miss the possibility of him, the man I'd hoped he'd be, the father that I needed. Our love, as complicated and imperfect as it was, it still lives in my bones. Maybe it was his final gift, the reminder that even fractured, flawed love leaves its mark. It changes us, it stays with us and teaches us long after the last goodbye. Many women long to feel held, to feel safe, to allow ourselves to open up, to let our guard down, to stop performing for love, that our worth is not external, that we have to keep giving all of us to people please just to feel validated and whole. Many of our emotions are quite complex and deep. We have trouble articulating it sometimes. I know my father was also just trying the best that he could, the best he knew how to. No one is perfect. I don't blame him. I've grown to realize that now. I've had incredible grandparents, and he was an incredible dad too. But it was just the course of events that had to happen to support my growth and what I really came here to do. I had to heal my biggest wounding to finally show up with courage and wisdom and to teach it all to you. When we come down here on earth, we are given a manual, and that is our natal charts. It tells us who we are, our challenges, and what we aim to accomplish and what we need to heal. Our north nodes are what our soul is trying to become. Our Chiron is what we need to heal. Our natal chart says it all. You can wait 80 years to figure it out, or you can look into your birth chart. This has been used for eons because we are all a network and everything is connected. There are 3 phases that a woman undergoes. The first stage is the maiden. The maiden represents this youthfulness, curiosity, and potential. She is the embodiment of freedom, exploration, and self-discovery. The maiden is still learning about herself and the world, embracing her individuality and seeking to understand many of her desires and dreams of who she wants to be. She is connected to beauty, to the joys of life. Her energy is fresh, vibrant, curious. There is plenty of growth and learning. However, she can also be naive, impulsive, and she fears of responsibility. The second stage is the mother. This represents creation, nurturing, and abundance. She symbolizes the ability to give life, not just biologically, but to the ideas, relationships, and communities. The mother archetype is deeply connected to caring, compassion, and love, but she also carries the wisdom and the boundaries of balance. So this phase emphasizes many of our purpose, our stability, and the fulfillment of what it is really to give and receive. Her energy is very protective. It is grounded and nurturing. She is focused on building, sustaining. However, she can also present over-sacrifice, burnout, or loss of self-identity. The final stage is the crone. The crone is the wise woman, the keeper of knowledge and intuition. She represents a lot of the completion of cycles and the deep wisdom gained through life's experiences. The crone's energy is very reflective, introspective, and she is often spiritual. She is the guide, the teacher. This phase is about embracing our authenticity and letting go of societal expectations and really what it means to fully stand in your own power. She focuses on wisdom, her legacy, and the spiritual connection. However, she can also feel isolated. She feels this sense of irrelevance or cynicism. Women can carry all of these at once. The maiden's curiosity, the mother's nurturing, and the crone's wisdom. It just depends on where she is in her personal growth and experiences. 2025 and onwards is the year of women, divine feminines, so that a lot of the men can also heal. To be a woman is to be an artist, is to carry the world within, one that is rarely understood in its entirety. But in this vast hidden ocean, there is a role for a man who dares to swim. The man who ventures past the surface, beyond the external beauty, beyond the comfort of what is known, into the heart of the storm where the wildest truths are the real treasures. The woman's depth is not a burden. She is a mirror, not just for herself, but for her partner, the man who chooses to explore the very core of her essence. The woman is naturally chaotic, the antiparticle, the idea, and the man is electric, the particle that holds the containment. A woman will amplify everything from your fears, your lacks, or greatness. Choosing a partner is crucial, and in a tantric partnership, the positive and negative starts to emerge. Together they create this massive electromagnetic field. It is a very symbiotic relationship. That is how life is created, or a manifestation. Your partner will balance you, but it needs constant refinement to strip you down over and over. Before I met my partner, I went through a spiritual purification, the most intense initiation, so that I can hold reverence for him. It's not for the faint of heart. To truly know a woman is to understand that her complexities reflect your own. The man that dares to dive does not simply discover her. He discovers himself, his own fears, his own longings, his own untapped potential. A man naturally wants freedom. He discovers a side of himself that he never thought was possible. Beneath those hidden layers of expectation, culture, and self-doubt. What is a man's role in holding this space? To be strong, yes, but strength alone is not enough. It is the courage to be vulnerable, to face the parts of himself he's never dared to acknowledge. It is in his bravery to stand with her in the depths of both their souls, without the need to control or conquer, but it is to understand, to grow, to be transformed by the wild beauty they hold together. That is what being in a divine relationship or charismatic union is. You are here to awaken others through your own transformation, to bring the divine back down here. So many men quit before they get to the good part. And the deepest parts is where growth happens, where the seed of true strength is born. Not by the strength of domination, but the strength of knowing who you are, of having the courage to explore and to confront what really lies beneath the surface within both yourself and others. The woman who stands with you in this transformation does not seek to break you, but to show you who you are beneath the armor you wear, the mask that you wear. She is the catalyst, the mirror, the muse for your own journey of self-discovery. For men, this is the most transformative you'll ever get, to realize that this journey to greatness is to dive deep into the unknown, to confront the emotional and spiritual realms that society may have taught you to ignore. Valor is not just found in external battles, but in the inner conflicts you face, your willingness to wrestle with your own shadows. Honor is not just in what you give to the world, but in how you honor your own truth, your vulnerability, and your growth. Strength is not just physical, but emotional and spiritual. A strength that is rooted in self-awareness and self-respect, and in the unwavering commitment to continue when the journey gets hard. Some men believe that their strength lies in avoiding the deep, in staying on the surface and maintaining control. But true strength, the kind that can truly hold a woman's depth, is the strength to dive in fearless and free. It is the strength that you are not afraid of change, that you're not afraid of complexity, not afraid of feeling. The man who dares to swim, who dares to understand the woman he loves, not as a possession or a puzzle to be solved, but as this wild living being, is a man who begins to understand himself in ways he never could have imagined. I think the problem is that many are not taught to look at art. People in general miss the depth of art because they only recognize its surface beauty. It's as if they're just watching the painting for a fleeting moment, admiring its bright colors, the lines, the initial impression, but not really stopping to witness the layers, the mess, the mistakes, the passion, the process that gave birth to this final piece. Art, at its core, is not just a result, it is the unfolding that demands to be felt, to be experienced in its rawness, its imperfection, and its moments of silence and chaos. Art speaks this language beyond the visual. It taps into something deeper, a frequency, a vibration that resonates within the soul. To fully experience it, you must surrender to its flow, to feel the tension in the brushstrokes and the weight of the silence between the notes, the rawness in the words. Art cannot be rushed or reduced to a quick glance. To truly understand it is to understand its message. One must meet it with the same depth and openness it requires. One of my favorite artworks is Rothko's, and I highly recommend to read his book. Actually, his son wrote it through his journals, but it's very philosophical and it is so moving. When I was standing in front of his massive painting, it was like 10 feet tall. It was transcendental. It was this big block of colors, and there is so much depth in his beauty and the pain of who he was becoming. When a man only looks at the surface, he misses the chance to experience the full breadth of life, to feel the edges of his own humanity. Art demands you to dive in, to peel back the layers, to endure the discomfort of the unknown, the unpolished mistakes. That's where growth happens. This is where art and being a man or being a woman converge. The deeper that we can understand art, the process, the struggle, the surrendering, the more you will understand life itself. Beauty is necessary. Life is not neat. It is not predictable. It's wild and full of beauty and ugliness, triumph and failure. The artist, like a man who dares to face life fully, doesn't escape pain or the messiness. He immerses himself in the feeling the depths of his partner, his experience, allowing this journey to really transform him. To avoid being with a woman is to shy away from art, seeing it as too delicate or too abstract, too distant from the practicality they've been taught to value. The true man is not afraid to feel, not afraid to dive into the chaos of life, just as the artist is not afraid to create even the end is unknown when the path is unclear. As women, it is our role to hold space for them, that we are the canvases. We are all in our own journey of discovering ourselves. In my opinion, we need to start separating morality from biology, to stop conflating what is natural, what is right or wrong. Our fixation on defining humanity through rules, norms, and information, this has led a strange intoxication where we are drowning in data, yet we are starving for connection. Despite all of these unprecedented speed and reach of our communication, we have never been more distant from one another. We are trapped in the paradox of hyper-awareness and emotional isolation. The true connection arises not from knowing, but from being more vulnerable. It is only when we allow ourselves to break open, to expose our raw, unfiltered essence, that we can finally create space for others to do the same. Vulnerability is contagious. It dissolves the barriers we so carefully construct and to invite authenticity into our lives. Darkness plays a necessary role in this process. Without the shades of black, without the shadows that linger at the edges of our being, we cannot fully perceive or appreciate the beauty of light. In art, in nature, in life, the contrast is a requirement for balance. The juxtaposition of joy and sorrow, hope and despair, this is what makes human experience richer and more profound. Darkness is not the absence of beauty, but it is the frame, the space that allows brilliance to emerge. Rather than fearing the darkness within ourselves and others, we should honor it. It is in the interplay between the light and shadow that we find the deepest truths. where vulnerability transforms into strength, and where art transcends the ordinary to reveal the extraordinary. That is the beauty of being alive. Darkness is a vital thread in all of this existence. When we start embracing our vulnerability and acknowledging the balance of light and dark, we can finally create this bridge, the distance between ourselves and the world, not through information, but through connection. There is no greater honor than discovering the depths of your soul, whether the soul is a woman or a man's. And when a man or woman learns to hold space for our depths, we not only hold space for our partners, but for ourselves. We learn what it means to be truly present, to discover our own potential, our own valor, our own strength. The depths are very transformative, not just for her, but for him too. It is in those dark waters that a true man, a true woman emerges. The strength to grow, the strength to love, strength to dive into the unknown and come out more whole than ever before. I was watching the movie 300 again with the Spartans. They waged wars for their wives and children. They would die to protect them. It was their honor. I think we should still remember or commemorate those events because it has shaped who we are, and they're great examples of what it means to be human. That is it for today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I have meditations and one-on-one sessions on my shop. Follow me on Substack and socials. I want to hear your thoughts. I love you. Until next time.